Hello and welcome. For today's video, I thought it would be fun to do a little dyeable egg. We have done an egg pattern in the past. It is technically the exact same pattern. We are going to do a few things different. We'll be working with 2 strands of yarn instead of 1, and we will be working with cotton. If you have the little plastic Easter eggs, we're going to use those as a base for this so that we can store things inside. Maybe it's candy for you, for your kids, for your friends. Maybe it's catnip or cat treats for your cat friends. We even do an Easter egg hunt with our dog, so we do put dog treats in ours sometimes too. Whatever you want to keep in there, totally fine with me, but we're going to make a little dyeable version. So if you're averse to dyeing Easter eggs this year, what with the price of eggs, or maybe nobody ever eats them in your house, but you still want to dye them, this might be a good choice for you. So the things you'll need: 100% cotton yarn. You want to split it up into 2 balls so you can use it in 2 strands. You want your 4mm crochet hook. If your tension is tight, you might think about going up to a 4.5 or even a 5. Just try it out and try it on your egg before you glue anything together. We want a yarn needle and a pair of scissors and the plastic Easter egg if you were using it. That is everything you will need. So we will go ahead and get started. So we're working with 2 strands of the cotton yarn. We're going to start out in our usual way. We're making a magic circle, so we're going to cross the long end in front of our short end to make a little loop. We're holding on where they cross. We're going to take our hook through the front toward the back. We're going to grab the yarn, pull it up. Then we're going to grab the yarn, pull it through that little loop we just made. So there's our magic circle. We're going to work down the side that has more strands. And we're going to make 6 single crochets in here. So we're going through, making sure we're not accidentally grabbing any of those extra strands. Then we're going to wrap the yarn, pull it up. So now it'll look a little different. We've got 2 loops made of 2 strands, so it'll look like you got 4 there. We're going to wrap, and then we're going to pull through all of those. And we're just doing that until we have 6. So just keep going. We're going through the front, wrap the yarn, pull it up, wrap, pull through all of those loops. So once you have all 6, we'll get back together to close off our circle. Okay, we have all of our 6 single crochets there. We're going to take that tail, we're going to pull in the tail to close the circle up. It just brings the 2 ends together. Once you have them there, we're going to find that very first one we did, and we are going through there with our hook. We're going to slip stitch to join, so we're going to wrap our yarn, pull through where we just wiggled into, and then we're going to pull through that last stitch we did. So now to start round 2, we are going to chain 1. And for round 2, we're going to have 2 single crochets in each stitch. So we get a little bit more going on here, a little thicker. That's okay. We're going to work our way as slowly as you need to, making sure you get all the way through there. Pull up. We're going to go again, wrap to pull through the rest of our little loops here. And then the only difference between our regular single crochet and this one is that we're going into that same spot a second time just to increase our stitches. So this is going to take us from 6 single crochets for the round to 12. So again, we're just going in, making 1 single crochet in the next stitch, and then we're right back into that same spot to make our second one. So we're repeating this until the end. You should have 12 at the end. We'll slip stitch to join again, we'll chain 1, and then we'll get back together for round 3. For round 3, we're going to single crochet 1 into our very first stitch, making sure that we're getting through all the layers with that extra strand of yarn. And then for our second stitch here, we're going to increase again. So we're making our single crochet, and then we're going into that same spot again. And we're just repeating that pattern. So 1 plain single crochet all by itself, and then 2 worked into the next stitch. Once you get to the end, we're just going to slip stitch to join. We'll chain 1, and then we'll get back together for round 4. Round 4, this one's going to start off a little different. We're going to have a plain single crochet in the first 2, and after this, then we're going to start our repeating pattern. So the next 3 stitches are plain single crochets, and then in that next one we are going to increase. So now we've got our increase here, so we're going in, wrap, pull up, wrap, pull through both, then we're going back into that same spot, And now we're repeating the pattern of 3 plain single crochets, followed by the increase all the way to the end. We're going to slip stitch to join at the end. We'll chain 1, and then round 5 is just a plain single crochet round. So go ahead, finish this repeat, finish the next round, all plain single crochets, and then we'll get back together for round 6. Round 6 is going to be a decrease round. We're going to start off again with our 2 like spare stitches in the beginning that aren't part of our repeat. So we're just working 1 into each of those first 2 stitches. And now our repeating pattern is going to be a plain single crochet in the next 2 stitches. And then we're going to decrease after that. So we're grabbing the front loops of those first 2 stitches, making sure you're getting both strands of yarn. We'll wrap, pull through there, and now we've got just those 2 on the hook, wrap, pull through both of those. So again, it's just a plain single crochet for 2, and then a decrease, taking those next 2 stitches and working them together. When you get to the end, we'll slip stitch to join, but this time we won't chain 1. We will get back together for round 7. Okay, we've finished our 6 rounds, and now from here we're going to cut that yarn and we are going to wrap our yarn around our hook, pull it through that last loop to tie it off. And because this will be kind of sort of visible here, it's not like our cat toys where we can hide our ends and no one will ever see them. We do have to just weave these in and then trim off any extra, and then we're going to get started on that second half. So just go ahead, grab your yarn needles, weave those in, trim them away, and we'll start on the second part. So in order to be able to open our plastic egg, we're splitting our egg pattern into 2. I'm going to call this round 7, even though it is the beginning here of our second part. We want to make a slip knot, so we're going to cross the long end over our short end of our yarn, and then from the back of that loop we're pulling up the working end, and then you just tug on the other end to make our slip knot. Our hook's going to go into the slip knot, and then just kind of give both ends a little tug so that it is nice and not too snug on your hook, but closed up there a little bit. We are going to be making 18 chains here. So we've got our slip knot, and then we're going to chain for 18. So we're just wrapping the yarn around our hook and pulling through the loop over and over again until you have all 18. Okay, our chains are done. For this round, we're going to work something just a little bit different. We want to be able to keep these nice chains facing up so it looks nice and neat, and it just sort of matches up with the bottom part. So you see that how that looks nice and pretty. We want this side to look just the same. So in order to allow that to happen and still be able to work them together, we're going to go through the back bumps of our chain to work. So if you flip it over, you can kind of see, well, it almost looks like the chains of like a gold necklace. So you're going through the bumps on the back. So we're going to join through there on that very first little chain. So we're just slip stitching to join, making sure that we're not accidentally turning or twisting our chain. We want everything to be going the same direction. And we are still working the 2 strands together, or with 2 strands together. And there, we'll chain 1. And then from here, we're just doing single crochets all the way around into the back bumps. So the V shapes are facing that way, and we're going into the back to do our single crochets. All right, so we're going to keep going. We're doing that all the way around. We'll slip stitch to join at the end, and after this round, everything is just a little bit easier to get into. Okay, round 7 here is done. We've joined, we've chained 1 at the end, and now we are going to single crochet 1 in every stitch for our next round. So we are just doing plain single crochets. And then at the end of this round, we will join again, we'll chain 1, and then we'll get back together for our next decrease round. Before we start our repeat for this round, we're going to do 2 plain single crochets in the first 2 stitches. And then our repeat will be 3 plain single crochets in the next 3. So we're still just working single crochets each stitch. And then after these 3, we've got a decrease stitch. So we're working the next 2 stitches together. You can grab the front loops only of those next 2. We'll wrap pull through both of those, wrap pull through the 2 on the hook. And then again, we're repeating a pattern of 3 single crochets in those next 3 stitches, or 3 single crochets, 1 individually in each of the next 3 stitches, and then the decrease. Once you get to the end of this round, we're going to join, we'll chain 1, and then we've got another round coming. Next round is just plain, so we're going to single crochet 1 in each stitch. We finished that last plain round. We're ready for our next decrease round of the pattern here. First, we're going to get those 2 plain single crochets out of the way because they are not part of our repeat. And then we will be going 1 followed by a decrease. Then we're repeating this all the way to the end. When you get to the end of the round, we'll slip stitch to join, we'll chain 1. Now, if you haven't already, the phase of attaching these parts to our plastic eggs will involve some hot glue or low temperature glue. So if you need to, go ahead and plug that in so you're ready for the next part. When you finish this round, probably be a good time to get it warming up. Okay, so we are gonna join at the end, chain 1. Go ahead, plug in your glue gun if you want to, and then we will finish our very last round here. Our last round is also going to be a decrease. This time we are decreasing all the way around. So we're just taking those stitches and bringing them all the way to a itty bitty little hole so that we can close it up and be done with the second half. So we're working 2 stitches together until you are back at the beginning of the round. And once you're there, we'll slip stitch to join, and we are going to be cutting off kind of like a medium length tail, and we're going to use that tail to weave our stitches, our little hole at the top here closed. So go ahead and finish this one up. So we've joined there. We're going to cut that medium length tail, trying to make sure that our 2 strands are staying together so that it's easier to thread them onto the yarn needle in a moment. We will wrap that yarn over the hook, pull it through that last loop just to tie it off. And from here, making that knot as tight as we can. Then we'll get our yarn needle. We're gonna go through each of the top stitches here. We're gonna pull them closed. We'll tie it off, and then you're just gonna weave in your ends just like we did for that first half. So once you've got your yarn needle on there, just going in and out those few stitches that are left. And then giving it a little snug pull there. And I'm going to bring mine to the inside to tie it off and flip it over. So I'm going to tie it off on the inside because we are working with extra strands here. I don't want it to look too bulky on the outside at the top. It gets a little weirdly pointy. Okay, there we go. So now just weaving in that end, weave in this end, and we'll get back together to attach it to our plastic part. So we've got our 2 hats complete. We've got our little casing. We want this smaller kind of plastic eggs here. And before you put any glue on anything, you might just think about sliding them on, make sure that they fit. And same thing with the top, making sure that that fits all the way snug down on there. Now, when I did my first one, my little test one, I had a harder time getting this to glue down, so I might put it on here, add the glue, and then slide it over. I went too slow before, and then everything got a little too sticky, and I can show you here. I wasn't able to push it down as far as I would have liked, so it's got a little gap there. But then on the side where I did a better job, got there a little quicker. You can see it's a little closer, a little nicer. So I'm gonna do the bottom first. That's kind of the easy part. So we're just putting a little bit of glue around the sides. So we're adding that little bit of glue, just a couple of dots around, and then before it has a chance to cool at all, we're sliding that base on there. So you're getting that all the way up to the edge, the lip here of our plastic part. And if you do see any glue getting kind of into the ridge where the two pieces of the plastic connect, you can just wipe it away. We'll give that a moment to cool, and then we'll do the top half. So again, for the top half, I've put it almost all the way on, and then I'm going to add that little bit of glue, slide it over the glue. I'm going to do that in a couple of places just to guarantee that I can get it as low as I want it, so that when we close it up, it looks nice and neat. So once that cools, I'll turn it, I'll do one more and then one more on the other side. So we've got 3 good points of contact there. Our egg is all done. You can open it up, you can close it, seal it up, and if you're going to dye it, I will show you here which dyes I found to be the best. So I tried 3 different food safe dyes: a liquid food coloring, a gel food coloring, and the little tablets that come with the egg dyeing kits. The egg dyeing tablets actually worked the best, but the liquid, the gel food coloring worked pretty well as well. The liquid didn't work great. So anyway, I hope you had fun making some little Easter eggs with me. If you do make them, I'd love to see them. You could tag me over on Instagram. I'm just Denise Fox Crafts over there as well. Next week, I will show you guys kind of the same idea, a little dyeable egg, but without the plastic. So if you don't like to use plastic, there is also a little chick version. And anyway, yeah, so that will be next week. You could store stuff in there. There's no plastic in there. Probably not the best for like little kids because they will squish it, although it would still be fine. So anywho, little preview of what's to come. Thank you guys for joining me. Bye.